I came across this prayer shawl the other day when I was just putzing around the house, going through drawers, trying to do some early spring cleaning, even though it's not spring yet. And March is truly living up to its reputation. In like a lion and out like a lamb. Well, the lion part is starting to roar. We're having another snowstorm. I'm looking out the window. We're about 3 inches right now, and it's expected to have another 9 inches, a foot of snow. But the good thing is, this time of year, any snow that falls melts quickly. And so in a few days, the grass will be showing again, but still. So I was putzing around and I came across this old shawl that I've had for many, many years. Some women at a church in New Jersey that I served, they made it for me when I became ordained, and they presented it to me as a gift. And I don't know why I keep it packed away. I should really keep it out more. I should really just put it on the chair of my office so that every day when I'm feeling stressed or just needing some comfort or to know that I'm not alone in this world, I could just put it on and feel the love. Sometimes we need comfort. Sometimes we need to feel that warmth of a hug around us, or a warm shawl that reminds us that people are there in our lives, that they have prayed for us and that they care for us. I'm glad that I stumbled upon this shawl again, because I'm in a season where I do need to feel that hug, to feel I'm not alone. It's a season in which, well, as many of you know, Reverend, my old cat, is declining. He's doing better right now. He's eating and drinking, but he's losing weight, and I know where this is going. So we're just walking this walk right now together and just enjoying every day and leaving it in God's hands. But still, that doesn't take away the worry. So I have to admit that I did something that I can't believe I did. Rather than turning to God in prayer, like I always share with you that we need to turn to God and trust God and know that there's something greater caring for us, that He is divine. What I did the other day in my worry and my sadness and my stress, I began binge watching TV. Yeah, I did not turn to God first. I turned to the TV. Now, I'm a royal watcher, so the show that I binge watched was The Crown. And by the way, it's good. I highly recommend it. But I just kept watching all the episodes. And the other night I woke up, it was 12:30 at night, and the TV was still playing. And I woke up and Reverend was on my lap, purring, sleeping. And I looked around and I realized what I did. I zoned out by watching TV rather than taking my cares to God. So I turned off the TV, 12:30 at night. I turned it off, and in the quietness of the living room and the quietness of the night, I just sat there with Reverend in my arms as he just purred, and he kind of like looked at me and gave a content sigh. And I just wrapped the blanket around us a little bit more, and I realized that I needed to take my cares to God. That binge watching TV as an escape wasn't really the right choice. Sometimes it's a good choice. Sometimes it's okay to do that, but I had forgotten to run to God. I had forgotten to first turn to God. I had forgotten that it's God's arms where I will find peace. It's in God's arms that I will find a place of refuge. And so this old shawl, I'm glad that I rediscovered it, and I'm going to keep it out because we all need a prayer shawl, don't we? We all need a big hug. You might not have a prayer shawl, but what is it that can remind you that God is hugging you, that you are cared for? We have scripture today in which God is pictured as a mother hen. And of course, having chickens, I love that imagery. Of course, I think about my broody chicken, but that's a whole other story. But we're going to hear how God is a mothering hen and what we can learn from that, and how we can take comfort in such an image. And so, my friends, this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it.
Jerusalem, Jerusalem, the city that kills the prophets and stones those who are sent to it. How often have I desired to gather your children together as a hen gathers her brood under her wings, and you were not willing.
I feel like a little kid just putzing around in one's bedroom, just going through old books and old treasures and drawers that I have long forgotten. But there's something to be said about taking this time to putz around and rediscover the things that are right in your house that you have forgotten will give you comfort, like discovering this prayer shawl again. But in addition to the prayer shawl, I also found several books, several on quilting, which, by the way, is now inspiring me to make yet another quilt. But in addition to the quilting books, there was also a children's book about the many images of God, and talking about God as, a loving parent, a mighty warrior, but the one that really resonates with me, and not just because I have chickens, but I just love the imagery of God as a mother hen. That is what Jesus brings to us as he's making his way to the cross, for we are in the season of Lent. And Jesus looks out to Jerusalem and he laments over the city, which he knows all the contention that is going to be there. And he knows what's going to happen. And he knows that people will start to gun for him, and he will be put to death. And he knows everything that's coming. And he knows what will be found in Jerusalem. So as he's lamenting, he then gives us that beautiful reminder that God is like a mother hen calling her chicks to come and take refuge underneath her loving wings to protect them. Such a beautiful image. Yes, we have God as a loving parent and mighty warrior, and later on Jesus would say, I am the bread of life, I am the living water, I am the good shepherd. But how often do we draw upon or turn to the image of the mother hen when we are seeking comfort? I think we hear a lot about shepherd and sheep and so forth, but the mothering hen, not only is it one of the very few references to God in the female aspect, but it reminds us the power and the might of God in the caring and the tenderness. You see the image of having little chicks just find refuge and comfort underneath these loving wings. Yes, that is nice and cozy, but do you realize that mother hens are quite protective, and they can get very feisty and very strong? I had a farmer friend who warned me when I was thinking about getting chickens that you have to be careful because snakes will try to get into the coop and eat the eggs. Now, I was like freaking out about that. I'm like, really? And luckily in Vermont, where I'm at, there's not that many big ferocious snakes that I need to deal with. When I lived in Maryland, oh my goodness, Maryland, they were known in the area that I was for these huge, big black snakes. And they were the ones that would slither up. Well, we wanted, in the church I served, we wanted to do a bluebird box trail, little boxes for bluebirds. And somebody warned me that the black snakes would slither up the pole and eat the little eggs. Anyway, but the farmer was telling me, be careful because snakes will get into the coop and try to get the eggs. And I guess I had the look of, I didn't believe him, but he told me a story how he heard a great commotion in the tall grass one day, and he saw little chicks, kind of running around looking for their mother, and there was this big commotion going on, and it was definitely the mother hen just cackling right away, and all of a sudden the rustling of the grass, and she comes out with a big snake in her mouth. She was protecting her chicks. And so the imagery of God as a mother hen is not just this warm and cozy image, but it reminds us that God will protect us to death. God will fight for us. And that was Jesus, why he sent his son Jesus, who died for us. And so God is a loving parent who would sacrifice his own son so that we will have life, just like a mother hen would sacrifice her own life to save her chicks. There was a sad story I came across years ago about a forest fire, and they found this hen who was all charred and just died and burnt and charred, but all of a sudden underneath the charred body of this hen, all her little chicks were safe and sound. She protected them. We don't often talk about God as a mother hen. It's an image that I think that we need to lift up some more, because it's a beautiful one. It's a comforting one. There was a Swedish hymn writer in the 19th century. Her name was Caroline Sandelberg, was it? Yeah, Caroline Sandelberg. And she wrote more than 2,000 hymns, but there's one Swedish hymn that is almost like a lullaby that Swedish mothers would sing to their children. And it is taken from the imagery of God as a mothering hen. And the hymn is a beautiful one. I just came across it the other day. It's like, Thy holy wings, O Savior. And as I said, it's often sung as a lullaby to the children to lull them off to sleep. But the interesting thing is Lena, as she was known, Caroline Lena, she wrote many of her powerful hymns out of the depths of grief that she experienced. Thy holy wings, it is said, was perhaps written out of the grief of losing her father, who was a Lutheran minister. And it was one day they were traveling via boat, and rough waters came, and her father fell overboard, and they couldn't save him, and he drowned. And she had to just stand there on the deck watching as her father perished, and she couldn't do anything about it. And then out of that grief, out of the despair, she pens the words to Thy holy wings, and how underneath those wings she finds peace. Life is complicated. I say that a lot. The war is still raging in the Ukraine. And I thought about it the other day too, that we have hit the 2-year anniversary of when society just began to shut down, 2 years of a pandemic, and we are emerging, but there's still concerns. There's still many steps we need to take to be safe and keep others safe, especially those who are vulnerable. The world is crazy at times. And many of us have our own challenges. Whatever your challenge might be, please know that I will lift up a prayer for you. So we have the world out there, but yet in our own lives, each one of us, we have a cross to bear, a cross to pick up, a rocky path to step on. But through it all, we have a God who sees all, loves all. Through it all, we have a God who is like a mother hen, reaching out with the beautiful wings and inviting us to take refuge underneath and holding us. What's your favorite image of the divine? What really speaks to you? So wherever you might be right now, know that God is with you. Find comfort and refuge underneath those beautiful holy wings.